Uh-oh. It didn't do the countdown. We are live now.
It did do the countdown. I don't know why you didn't see it, but we are here, and we're going to talk a little bit of Broncos. I mean, not a little bit, a lot of Broncos. A little bit of Avs, a little bit of Nuggets, Jokić injury, a little bit of Avs winning streak, and a whole lot of Broncos. So stay with us, and we will be right back.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rocky swinging bats, ready for game day. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Buffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Out talking JJT, they got the scoop. Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire.
Oh, wow. He's gone. What's up, everyone? We are here to talk Colorado sports with you. I am JT Matthews, one of your hosts. And actually, the doctor is here. He is in.
Yeah.
Nicholas Manning. What's up, Doc? How are you?
It was a mistimed bathroom break. I was like, do I have time to get it in during the intro song? Made a calculated risk.
I can solve a little bit.
Appreciate the people. Appreciate the grace of the people. And we're back.
We're back. I got a camera now that actually works, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Christmas? Did you just deal?
I did. I got it for Christmas.
Let's go.
It was on the Amazon wish list. The parents came through and sent me or gave me this. They gave me some pretty clutch. They gave me this little speaker I can put in my shower. That's nice. I like that.
Nice. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. Good stuff. Yeah.
For sure.
It's the things, it's the small things,
And I got this hat.
We're just people like you. Everyone, we put our pants on 2 legs at a time like everyone else.
Yeah, we jump and we put those babies right on.
Yeah, like toes down, like all the way through. Pop your feet out before you land. No shuffle. There's no wiggle. Just come on. Let's go. Barely. I don't even snap
one fell swoop.
Snaps itself. Zip goes up. It's just money.
It's perfect. Try it.
How much would that suck if you could do that and that was like your only skill? You know what I mean? Like that was the skill that you got. All the superheroes, like all the things we talk about, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I put on pants, they put on themselves.
Could I do it like when I'm like 92?
Yeah, it's like forever. It's like
it would be cooler like as you got older, for sure.
For sure. I mean, taking off pants is probably more.
I mean, that could be more clutch for sure.
Just saying. Like how many times, you got 4 kids. How many of those times did your pants get stuck on your foot? You're like, like dang it. You probably would have had 6 kids if you'd have been better at the pants.
Yeah, maybe it's a good suit. I apprate that now that I don't have that superpower.
maybe
when you reframe it that way.
Having that fail safe.
That button and zipper definitely got away of one additional child at least.
Of a basketball team, we were aiming for a hockey.
Well, let's happy New Year's Eve. We didn't even address that yet.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. We're gonna do resolutions at the end. Okay.
Oh, great.
Do a little ritual. I didn't tell you that.
This always goes well for me.
We're gonna do that. Oh yeah. Don't it's not like serious. Like don't.
Oh, can it be like sports team resolution?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
We're not going like inner workings of our cognitive.
I'm like
this anyway.
Yeah, I'll have to think about.
I did not prepare for this. I didn't know there would be reading.
Yeah, I didn't know there was homework for sure.
Yeah, man. But we made it. 2025. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan.
Yeah, I'm all right with it being out of here.
Yeah. Like it was And by all right, I mean we made it. Not everyone though. So pouring out for some of the homies, for sure.
I was trying to think of one person that passed away that I remembered, and I thought of Hulk Hogan, and I was going to be like, rest in peace, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
Kick rocks, Hulk. No, we had a couple losses in the Manning circle.
Yeah.
So really excited for 2026 to, we're gonna have 3 parades. Pop quiz really quick, folks, and the following fam in the chat. Has any major, so out of the 4 major sports, any American city had 3 or more champions at the same time? Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So
do you know the answer? Or are you
the Broncos win the Super Bowl? I'm asking because I don't think it's happened. And when I've looked, I haven't found one. Boston had a good run. I think they only had 2 at a time. So
like Bruins, Patriots,
like it was it was the Bruins,
like Dodgers, Lakers,
Red Sox, Celtics. Like they all won, but I think there was only 2 at a time. But if you add like a couple of years, they did have a few year span where all 4 had them like within a small block, which is pretty dope.
That's pretty
to go from like the loserous city outside of like Chicago to like the mecca of sports, the Sox. So yeah, if anyone can look it up for us so that I'm not spending all of the time doing that would be cool. But my wife asked me, I said, hey, because I was talking about how like this is like rarefied air right now.
Yeah.
And
very
opportunity fortunate. And like super fortunate, right? Like it's lightning because I was like, man, would I have to stop being a sports fan after that? Like that's peak. Like, what do you do then? Like literally all the teams I root for are champions right now. Like there's nowhere to go but down.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like I even feel that way with just like watching Jokić. I'm like, when Jokić retires, like, am I gonna like?
Well, I can like basketball. 100%. I thought that too.
Like I'll be like, why don't they pass the ball more? Like why don't we play in the post?
Yeah. So like if we watch Jokić, we were just talking about this before we got on. It's just like, okay, how is OKC not more liked? Like there's bad dudes on there, especially after they traded Josh. I date underage ladies, Giddy, right? And so like, there's no one that you don't like on the team or like bad people.
Right.
And it's like, but they just like, they win at a high clip, and it's like, man, I like watching Jokić play, like love it. And then like, could you imagine, man? Especially they won't be as good. Like, there's no way that they're going to be as good. So then you're going to watch like mediocre basketball. That's not.
I'll probably
good.
watch
like good.
The next couple games just to see how they do. But if they aren't winning these games, like against the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards, like I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break from the Nuggets. Like I'm probably just going to like.
How ridiculous is it that Michael Porter Jr. in that game, right, is going to be like the best player? Oh man,
it'll be a Michael Porter Jr. versus like
Jamal. If there's a day where you drop a 50 burger, it's got to be when you play the Wizards, man.
I would even be okay with like an MPJ Jamal just shootout duel.
Oh, that'd be fun, but we have to win it.
Yeah, as long as we win, of course.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they move him, because I think that he could get thrown onto a team that's competitive right now and maybe make a push with a different team. It would be interesting to see, because I've heard people floating trade rumors about MPJ. So, we'll see what happens there. But let's talk about our teams. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets to start. Jokić out at least 4 weeks. He'll be reevaluated after 4 weeks. A hyperextension of the left knee. I don't think that's technically an injury, but that's what they're deeming it. So I don't know if they just don't want to say it's a strain or a sprain, or if they think there's damage to the ligament that they're, because like sometimes you get
when you hyperextend it, that's what happens, and then there is
that's the action
due to the If you have a hyperextended, I would assume that there's some stretched out ligaments. Or it's just CYA, right? Like this is our cow, and we are hitched to the wagon,
right?
Yeah.
But I think if there was clear ligament damage, they would have said, he's out for the season. He's got to have procedure. So obviously the damage is not significant, at least not to the point where he's not going to play the rest of the season. I think that we're fortunate that that's all it was. I was holding my breath all day yesterday until the tweet dropped from The Athletic. I think the first one I saw was The Athletic saying that it was 4 weeks before they reevaluate. So I was just glad that it wasn't anything worse than that, to be honest. Like, regular season is long. The regular season is important when you're playing for seeding, but it sucks. I heard someone say that like this is the most dense part of the schedule for a while. So the amount of games he'll be missing is pretty significant. But as far as like quality of opponent, I don't think we're going to be missing a ton of really great head-to-head matchups. I think we don't even play OKC until February. So is the timing good? I mean, the timing is never really good, but right now you're in third. Try and go at least 500, stay in the top 6, and kind of battle your way back from there is what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Do you think that they can play 500 ball with Jokić out?
If Gordon and Brown come back, yes. I think probably even a tick better. We forget again, Aaron Gordon was a legitimate 30-point scorer when he needs to. Jamal has had a great season. Christian Brown is a good player. Peyton Watson has really stepped up. You got Jonas, who, goodness gracious, like he's a starting caliber center who's played 15 minutes a game for 3 months or whatever. So he's fresh, or should be. And then you still got Brucey B off the bench and things like that. So I think it's a team that can hold serve. Yeah, Tim Hardaway. Why not? Right? They're not going to beat the top 6 teams in the West.
Right.
But that's not who you're playing the whole time. Yeah. Can you go beat the Hornets? And they really did a good job fighting with the Heat, right? When you lost Jokić pretty early-ish. And so
and the Heat were on fire from 3. I think they shot almost 50%.
They were. I mean, that's a good basketball. That's a pretty good basketball
23
team.
threes or something.
Yeah, that's a playoff team. So I mean, it's not like you were playing the Hornets and or what have you. So they have to. I think they have to play well enough. Whether or not they can, they have to. Right? Like it's not. It's they got to.
Yeah, Raptors are 20-14. That's who they play tonight at 5:30. And they play the Cavs, Nets, 76ers, Celtics, Hawks, Bucks, all on the road. I think it looks like Bucks might be back at home. But still, regardless, it's there's some tough teams in there. It'll really test their resolve for sure. It'll be interesting to see how much they can do. What I would like to see in a perfect world is, and I think what we're getting what we wanted with some of these injuries anyways, which is like guys like Spencer Jones getting some play time, seeing what they can do, building some confidence towards being able to use him, even if it's not, for a long stretch in the playoffs, but it just gives you that additional depth. But I'm hoping that maybe we can get a little bit of different kind of chemistry if AG comes back, and maybe we run a little AG Jamal 2-man game. Maybe a more of a lob kind of threat as opposed to Jokić, who is more of a pop. I mean, Aaron Gordon can pop too now. Now that he shoots the 3-ball like no one else. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of, without Jokić out there, what kind of chemistry they can build. If Cam gets a little bit, I guess Cam probably won't be out there before Jokić is back. But if Christian gets a little bit more involved with the ball in his hand a little bit, we'll see what the playmaking looks like. I think that's going to be the biggest question mark. Like, we play a brand of ball that is, make the right pass to the right guy at the right time. It's a historic offense. Let's see if they can have that same kind of production, maybe not to the same level, but that same general philosophy carry over with this new however many lineups they're going to have to roll out there.
I think that's well put. My worry is right. Cam went out, like we're making these hopeful assumptions or forecasting that there won't be more. Not gonna
right.
Like, I mean,
or it take longer than expected to recover.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a challenge, and then when Jokić comes back, how long is he going to need to get in, right? I don't know how physically active he can be while he's working it back.
Right.
As a very large human being, right? Like, if he can't be on his feet, what is that going to do for his cardiovascular and basketball shape? I think any of us know, if you've played sports, there's a difference between being in shape and in game. And at a guy that's 7 foot, 300 pounds, that in basketball, the most cardio activity sport there is. Ish, I don't know. Research probably. But to be honest, it's the fact that it's a month, like ish. Oh, thank God. You know what I mean? Like, yep. Yeah. And it's happening in December, January, not March, April, right? Or, I mean, God forbid, like, look at the Celtics, where it's just, you or Indiana, where you lose your best player. I guess Boston, right. You lose your best player in the playoffs, and then it decimates you for the next season. So count your blessings and stuff. Again, 5, wash this down the tube and move on. I think that's a team that can be, 60%.
Yeah. I mean,
why not?
Yeah. I worry about the defense more than anything. I worry about their ability to, when they're not playing well on defense, their ability to kind of still score at the same clip. Like, part of the reason you don't have to try on defense quite as hard as on this Nuggets team is because when you go down to the other side of the floor that there's a good chance you're going to come away with points. They've kind of shown that over the last years, and then they can ramp it up in the playoffs when it really matters. But I worry a little bit about kind of the ease of trying to get some buckets. We've seen stints with Jamal just running with the bench in the last couple of years, and how stagnant that can look and feel sometimes. That would be my biggest worry. But I think that, I think it's Jamal is now the guy. It's his all-star season, potentially.
Yep.
And as long as he doesn't overtax himself, I think that they've got a good chance, even with Jokić out, to pull out some wins. They may not be quite as nice to watch. They may not have the same kind of feel as your typical Nuggets team, but there's still a lot of talent on this team. The reason they went out and got those pieces in free agency was so that they have some depth. This is obviously worse scenario than they were anticipating with injuries, but you've got a Hardaway, you've got a Bruce Brown, you've got Peyton Watson, you've got guys like Julian Strawther that were playing minutes last year that haven't really quite got as much run. Well, maybe they'll flourish a little bit with some time back in the rotation. So, we'll see what happens. I just, at the end of the season, as long as we're not a playing team, I'm pretty happy. Obviously we wanted one of the top 2-3 seeds. Maybe that's not realistic anymore. But avoid the playing game and I'm good.
Yeah. Last year they went, 4-8 without Jokić. So there's, he missed 12 games last year from, November-ish to April. So it wasn't one big chunk, but that was with a less talented roster, in my opinion, right? So like you said, the depth on the team wasn't there for sure. So I think this team's more equipped. Again, there's that, but one nugget to say maybe on the way out is, if there were a time for Jamal Murray to earn not only all-star birthplace and in basketball history, is to carry this load. If they win 65% of the games and Murray's averaging, 27, 8, and 4, I think that goes to show for him to be able to say, hey, you know what, like my numbers are what they are because I was a good teammate to the best player in the world. It wasn't that I couldn't go average 27, right? It's kind of like Scottie Pippen, who it's not, when he didn't have Jordan that season, and he put up absurd numbers. And it goes to show, like, I'm a team player first. And I think that's the time to maybe show, like you said, check them on their back and carry through. So that's why I was only kind of joking about the 50 burger against Washington. But I think it's a time, man, where it's like your shot number is uncapped. Like if you're not shooting 15 a game, putting up 15 shots a game, you have a problem. Like there's a minimum of yakking up that you should do. And I think hopefully he seems like he's locked in to where he is up for the challenge, and he has to be. And I think that it'll be a good opportunity for him to etch his name in Nuggets history.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective, actually. This is Jamal's first chance to be the guy, So for anyone who wondered what Jamal would look like in a different, environment, this may be our chance to see, like, if Jamal was the guy somewhere, what would that look like? It's kind of his chance to kind of show that side of him. So for nothing else, I'm excited about that. I'll be checking him out, at least for a while. Maybe a little painful for me at times.
We're going to get some Deron Holmes minutes.
Put some games.
Unplug the console.
Throw my controller.
I think Deron Holmes minutes, it's an opportunity. Like, hey, you know what? I mean, that's Jokić got an opportunity to become Nikola Jokić because of injuries, or the team's not good. I mean, there were a bunch of things that happened. He took advantage of it, and I think everyone gets that opportunity. And so hey, Deron, he was the plan, right? He was the plan for that 4-5. Have your trio with Gordon, him, and Jokić, and hey, guys, don't forget about me, right? The plan. I'm well thought of, big man, and let's get to etching my name in the roster.
For sure. No, I think it's a good point too.
All right. All that's dressing up putting lipstick on a pig, it still sucks, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be in. Yeah, the good thing about Adelman is that he'll throw out some lineups that'll be interesting. He'll try some things, see what works and what doesn't work. So nothing else, we got that to look forward to. Let's transition to the Avs. Avs are still on their historic tear. You think that the wheels could fall off at any moment, even in hard-fought games against the Mammoth of Utah. We won 0-1. Hard-fought game against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. You win a shootout, and an amazing McKinnon goal in that shootout too. Just kind of zooms up to the puck, slows down on a dime, and then just rips it in. Like, he doesn't even look like it's difficult for him right now. This team just continues to roll. The only thing that is still kind of plaguing them is the power play, weirdly. But they're like a +66 right now, goal differential. The next closest team is a +34, and that's Dallas. You're just kind of in your own stratosphere right now. Every power ranking you look at, that no one can put anyone above the Avs. It's just impossible right now with the goaltending you're getting and just the kind of balance on this roster. Not a whole lot of news, to be honest. Just keep enjoying the ride is, I think, kind of our takeaway here, right? Like, this is we talked about it a little bit pre-show. Like, this has the potential to be the best regular season team, if not beyond that, and it's pretty exciting times.
Yeah. I just, again, looking at it, just 923 save percentage as a team. They're just super good. Like, you go through all the stats, it's next level stuff. I mean, the fact that Nate has, hit 30 goals with games left before the All-Star break or before the end of the year, right? Like, it's a tremendous season if a guy scores 30, period. Like, that's a guy that you're like, he gets paid, not gets paid hockey money, which isn't like any other sport, but it's good money. It's good money, everyone. But if the equivalent were in baseball, he'd be 10 years, $500 million or whatever.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. I'm baffled again looking at their records, and again at home they don't have a regulation loss. Points, they're phenomenal. I mean, 29, 2-7. Like there's only got two games that you didn't get a point in.
That's insane.
I mean, even for like a week, that's like pretty good. If you go 4-2, like that's a good week. It's a good week.
Yeah,
like this team is a lot more than 2. So I wish that there was like something to be able to put on or challenge with. I'm worried that there is something around the corner, but I've been worried about that every week. Like at some point they got to have a come back to earth spell.
Yeah.
And every week they don't.
Right.
Like this, if you're the rest of the league, do you just, when someone is this good, right? Like, do you, instead of like, all right, we're all chasing the Avalanche, you're like, let them go. And you're like, all right, we're going to focus on, right? Like, we're not going to catch them.
Yeah.
Like they're the next, we get to get to the playoffs and do our best, and maybe you can underdog story them in the end. But it's like, they're in a different stratosphere for us to even, to kind of use as our pace car, right? Like they're running a mile way faster than we can even think about it. So we got to use the next guy as our pace guy. Now we're kind of striving to be second or third, or a little bit like OKC, right? To avoid the Avs in the first 2 rounds if possible, right? Like put off that bear if you're in the Western Conference for as long as you can. And like, is that how you have to think about it? Or do you think they're competitors and they're like, we can hang with anyone, even the Avalanche? Or, part of me is like, I mean, you got to like say that out loud.
Yeah.
But I think if you're playing the game, you understand like this is a machine, and you might catch them on a rough night, but are you going to catch them 4 times?
Right.
Right. To beat them in a series? And they're still, in my opinion, not playing their best. They haven't played a game where it's all like the power play is going, like all of that. Like you haven't seen them do that, right? We talked about they scored 9 on Edmonton and went 0 for 7 on power play.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a team that still can get better, which is it's frightening. It's having the Dodgers, but in a salary cap sport. This isn't we messed the payroll up and we got everyone we want. This isn't your dad's NHL. Okay, I guess this is 2025/6. What do you think is their biggest hang up? What do you think is the thing that they got to get right, stay on top of, blah, 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 to make sure that they are the team hoisting the, at minimum, the President's Trophy at the end of the year, best team, all that stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think they got to work on before playoffs start?
I mean, I think power play is obviously the one we've talked about. I'll be interested to see what the goalie rotation looks like as you get closer to the playoffs. If you're just going to plan on playing both guys throughout the playoffs, or if you're going to make one of those guys kind of your primary. I think Mackenzie Blackwood's still the plan in the future at goaltender for this team. And so I wonder if they will kind of start skewing the starts a little bit more towards him. He played great against the Kings the other night. He's looking pretty good. I feel like Wedgwood had been outplaying him a little bit as he was kind of getting back into the fold, and as he was kind of working his way back from injury. But now they're looking pretty even. I don't know, man. There's not a ton. I don't think you're looking to make any moves at the deadline. I don't think, unless you really feel like you need one more piece to push for a title. But I mean, I look at this, the way that some of these young guys are playing and have stepped up. It's been really nice to kind of see, just contributions from all over the roster. And, I think even last night or the other night, your first goals from Drury, you've just got guys that are stepping up. Malinsky looks great. He may be one of the best kept secrets right now as far as defensemen in the league, that are just kind of flying under the radar. The dude is like putting up fantastic numbers and no one's really aware. I just think that, and there's probably some some benefit of playing with one of the most intense offenses in the league as a defender. But, this guy's contributing. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. He's putting points together, and he's making good defensive plays. And playing and watching a guy like Cale Makar every day, watching a guy like Devontae's every day, it's got to be good for your development as a young guy, especially if you have any sort of upside. So, I don't know that I can see any kryptonite, outside of injuries and that sort of thing, knock on wood. This team is in a prime position to kind of maintain and keep rolling. At some point, maybe they'll hit a bit of a hiccup, but right now they're 8 points up on the next closest team in Dallas. And, Dallas hasn't been playing fantastic lately, so they're heading towards the President's Trophy. That's just the way it is right now, until someone can make a push. McDavid's making a push individually, but, that team is still 15 points behind where the Avs are as a team. So it'll be interesting to watch it all play out. But, I think the Avs are number one. You got to continue to just enjoy it for what it is. Turn it on. If you guys haven't been watching the Avs, I know it's Broncos season. This is Broncos country. Enjoy that too, but you can like both. You don't have to pick one,
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's, you have the opportunity to enjoy both. Yeah. So why limit yourself? You're at Baskin Robbins. Enjoy all the flavors, people. Is Baskin Robbins even open still? Is it still? I have
no idea. I've not been to one in ages.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Well, dated myself
somewhere.
Transition time.
Let's transition.
Let's do it.
First,
we're gonna start by
letting
all the people know our awesome show. Hit it.
Yeah. Well, always thank you for being here. But Orange and Blue Network has a ton of shows and mostly Broncos centric. You've got Orange and Blue Blitz on Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. You've got Bronco Bros Mondays at 7 p.m. Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Us, of course, at 2:30 on Wednesdays. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. You've got Broncos Talk. You've got the Mile High Outcast Thursday at 7 p.m. The only Broncos Spanish podcast that I'm aware of with Viva Las Broncos, Fridays at 6 p.m. Then, of course, Fresh Squeeze, breaking news. Anytime there's breaking news for the Denver Broncos, you can catch that on YouTube or anywhere else you're watching your streams. Pre-game, play-by-play, and post-games every game day. You've got Get Buck, the Bucking Booth, and Buck Your Feelings. So tons and tons of Broncos coverage. And, of course, you get your other teams with us. So always tune in, always follow, give us all the good stuff. Subscribe on YouTube. We're still looking to I think we're still looking to give away that jersey.
Well, and go do it. Help us out. Also, subscribe this here podcast, comment for the algorithm, and then if you're getting a little tired, wake up by getting you a little dubby. No sugars, no calories, no bad crap. You can get 10% off your first or your order by using the promo code OBN10, Orange and Blue Network 10, or Bonix 10. So do what you got to do to be where you got to be. And with that, let's talk about some Broncos stuff. Buy some for sure.
Let's do it. I want to defer to you and see which way you want to take this conversation, because
let's go back a little bit to our
feelings.
Pain points. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot's happened since we've seen you all. JT and I went to Jacksonville Jaguars Broncos game. Really thinking that was going to go our way, and thoroughly unimpressed. That said, Broncos come back, and 10-year drought of winning in Kansas City. Yep. You lost, or you beat a third-string quarterback, but you also gave up 100 yards of total offense. And the only reason why they scored is because you had a tipped pick in your territory, and they had a really good kickoff return that put them inside your 40.
Yeah.
Other than that, they had, I think, one sustained field goal drive. It was a plus 40-something yarder for 13 total points. So in the end, defense did their job. There were only 8 total possessions in the game.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
The Broncos scored No, it had to be more than that.
Yeah, I was like, that's low.
80s team. 80s team, I think. So the Broncos scored on 4, turnover on 1, so only weren't successful in 3, and I think 1. Near that they were able to get points at the end of the half, even though they had won the toss. So that was a pretty strong opportunity for to kind of put Kansas City away. Credit to Kansas City, who, Andy Reid didn't fall off the coaching truck yesterday.
Sure did.
He is in the conversation for the GOAT or a GOAT, GOATish. And so I think you got to feel really good if you're Kansas City about how hard your team played. Defense showed up and showed out. That was a good unit. So they were down Patrick Mahomes and a couple corners, but they played with their starting offensive line, Travis Kelce, Pacheco, Chris Jones, etc. And so here we are. Broncos are 13-3. They have the tiebreaker with New England. So I think we're all aware, but just set the stage. If they win on Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers, they are the 1 seed. Playoffs run through Denver, and they also finish with the best record in the NFL this season. So for however you want to slice it, style points, all of the things. If we came to you, which I think we're probably pretty close. I think we said 12-5, actually. If we came to everyone beginning of the season, said, hey, the Broncos will be the 1 seed going into the playoffs, 14-3, would you sign up for that? Or do you need to hear, like, we're dotted line, signing it, I don't care what, firstborn, give kid,
no question.
Let's roll. And so there's some caveats I think that we'll obviously have to dive into, because we have to discuss, is this team really, or like, are we looking at it through the fandom glasses because we want it to be true, or is this team a real contender? And by that, like, there's no matchup dependency. It's you know what, if they go line up on Sunday for the next 3 Sundays after this, you feel good about their chance to beat whoever they're going to play. And even though sports is a matchup dependent activity, I think to call yourself a contender, I think you have to feel good that no matter what, you feel good about your chances against whoever is going to be there. That to me is kind of how I would feel about a Super Bowl contender, that you're not afraid to flip the coin and go play anybody. And so right now, give me a yes or no. They don't have to show anything else. Right now, question to you, is this team a Super Bowl contender? If you had 100, because whatever you value, put a number on it. You got to go bet they're going to win the Super Bowl or not. Like, do you feel confident in the $100?
Are they a contender or are they going to win? Which one?
Like that you feel like they're going to win. Like, you know what? I feel like this team, as it sits right here, is a team that is going to win the Super Bowl. Or, you feel really strongly about them being a real contender, that it's not flash in the pan. It's not it's a cute story. And because you don't luck to 14-3.
Right.
I think that there's some, people have played easier schedules and had a worse win-loss record. You've had teams that have shot themselves in the foot. You saw it with the Rams against the Falcons, right? Opportunity to really separate yourself. You play down to your competition, and then you can't close. And so do you feel like this team is the Super Bowl favorite in your mind? Well, I'll ask that way. Super Bowl favorite. A Super Bowl favorite.
No.
Okay. With home field advantage throughout the playoffs, does that change your perspective at all?
It does make me feel better. I just think there are some concerning things that we can talk about. Not that I don't think they can win, because I do think they can win. If I were going to pick someone to win the Super Bowl right now, I don't know that I would pick Denver. I'll just be real.
Right. So then let's be real about it, and let's talk about the things that you would need to see addressed to change that answer.
Yeah. So I think right now, my biggest worry is defensively.
Interesting.
There's kind of a couple things. I think part of it is we've seen a little bit of regression as far as the pass rush goes. specifically from Cooper and Benito. I don't think you're getting much pressure on the quarterbacks from those guys. That is concerning to me, because that's kind of where you started this season to where you are now. You would hope that it would either maintain momentum or pick up momentum, and it feels like the opposite. So that's one of my biggest sticking points at the moment. I think just also too, we've seen a little bit more, I don't want to say weakness on this defense, but they just haven't been quite as locked in, or they haven't been putting up quite as good showings. Now, I understand that the beginning half of the season, at least, those are pretty historic numbers as far as points allowed, how you're playing in the red zone, your ability to get pressure on quarterbacks. I still think that that's the thing that they're going to do. I still think that that's the thing that they can do. But just they haven't got much in terms of takeaways. And that worries me a little bit too, because I think that this offense, I think it's going to continue to be up and down. I think that, for every time that we've seen Bo Nix play great, we've also seen some pretty questionable and suspect either game plans or execution. And you kind of need your defense to create opportunities, or at least be consistent as you get into the playoffs and as you play into the playoffs. So that's my biggest concern right now. I think this offense is good enough. I think that I think they can be good enough. I obviously want to see more consistency out of them. I want to see them be able to run the ball. I think there's just some question marks there. I think there's some question marks. I don't think would I be surprised if they won the Super Bowl? Not necessarily. But I think that the pathway is going to matter. I think if you have home field, it's going to matter. And I think that if you get pitted against the Pittsburgh, Houston, or whoever ends up winning the AFC North, because that is a disaster over there, I'd rather go that route than having to play Buffalo and then Jacksonville, or Buffalo and then the Chargers, whatever that ends up looking like. So I just think there's a lot of question marks. So I'll let you respond to that.
Well, let's see. Let's start. I like your take. I think it's interesting enough. My biggest concern is also the defense right now, not the offense, which is weird when, they only scored 20 points against the Chiefs.
Right.
But, really, so if you take that pick away, which is just a tremendous freaking play by Fulton to get his hand in there, tip the ball up instead of knock it down, and for Bolton to make diving scoop catch. Like, what?
Yeah.
Bro, you look like a fullback. Like, what are you doing here? So that part, I think, is just something to be said. Without that, they were efficient. They had 3 drives of over 7 minutes apiece. 3 drives with more than, I think, 14 plays, something like that, which is just you don't do that by accident.
Right.
And Kansas City is a good defense with a really good defensive coordinator, a really good game plan. Right? They did the 2 high shell. They weren't going to let anything kind of go over the top, and then they played really strong. Up front, this team, it was ugly, but they ran the ball. I think it was probably the even-ish, considering they didn't get many chunk plays. Right? There's one pretty good run from Jaleel. That was like 16 yards or something like that. And then really it was just nickel and diming them. Yeah. And staying committed to the game plan and not flinching, I think, is just pretty tremendous. Like, they knew it was going to be you're playing a slugfest, right? And if you fail, if you miss, there's a chance that they're going to win that game. If you go kick a field goal instead of a touchdown at the end, there's a chance that they're going to win it, or that they could score. They as in the Chiefs.
Right.
And they stuck to their game plan and executed it, which I think is just pretty outstanding. And so with that, my concern is the inability to create turnovers. When you have a team that gets as much pressure as they do, yet you don't see the return when it comes to forced fumbles, or interceptions, and to be honest, or even tip passes. It's not like it's just bad bounces right now. There aren't plays to be made right there.
Right.
And so that part, I think, is the part that gives me the most concern is, Denver's not really working. The offense isn't working on short fields, really.
Right.
Everything that they're doing is sustained drives, which is to score 30 points in a game, you have to have a couple short opportunities or, over the top. You have to, big things have to happen for you to explosive plays for you to be able to do that, or turnovers. When you don't have that, you're going to be a team that puts up 20 points on a downtrodden team. No matter who they get in the playoffs, it's going to be a very difficult matchup.
Yes,
I think the AFC this season is no joke, right? I think Jacksonville, to most of us, would have been like the best matchup. Like, give us them all day. All right. When we got them, and that was not a good day.
Right.
And it's Buffalo's going to be limping into the playoffs. But they have Josh Allen. We're probably going to get, the Ravens in. And I don't want Lamar, man. I don't want Lamar coming here for, even if it's 70%. Lamar, he just has to be 100% for that day, or a couple drives, right? With how, lack of explosion or high potency that the Broncos offense has been. There won't be an easy matchup.
Now that they're handing the ball to Derrick Henry, actually, like, now that makes me even more nervous to play him.
Oh, 100%.
What do you have, like 36 carries the other night?
Yeah, 216. And has, I think, plus 100 yards the last 3 games. And so recognizing, and Tyler Huntley's playing good football. And even Pittsburgh, man, like that to me right now is probably the layup of all of them.
I think so.
They're going to get TJ Watt back. And, that defense is significantly different when he's on the field.
For sure.
And, that doesn't make me feel great playing that defense either. And Aaron Rodgers is hanging on. But you know what? He still throws the ball really damn well for being my age and playing football. So I have some concerns for sure. And there isn't a team in the NFL, let alone the AFC, that I look at and also say, like, we can't beat them. So for as much as I'm unsure about some stuff, I like our chances against any of them.
Yeah.
Without the 1 seed, though, the $100 stayed in my pocket. Not coming out. I ain't smelling it. Not aiming it towards any betting app site. Nope. With that, playing, can Jacksonville come here twice and win? Nope. I'm not. I don't think so. Baltimore, give me Baltimore here. All of that stuff. Like that is significantly different than this team going on the road, even though they've shown a capacity to be able to win on the road. I think having the ball kicked off in Denver is crucial to this team's success. For the Broncos to be able to win, though, Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper and, in my opinion, Zach Allen have to be better.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Zach Allen has been underwhelming over the past, probably this back half of the regular season. Haven't seen the big plays that really got accustomed to last year. And I think Nick has played well. Maybe hasn't had the sacks to show up, but him playing well isn't what's going to get this team to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So with Von Miller in 2015, like, your best players have to play their best in the playoffs for you to have a sustained run. And for the depth that they have at edge rusher, they don't have anyone that does what Nick does. And so without Bonito really being all pro, the team is pretty good. Without Pat really being Pat, this defense is pretty good. I think you also saw, sadly, in the absence of, how much this defense appreciated Brandon Jones. I think he brings that speed element too in the back. That PJ is a good player, but they're just physically different. PJ will bring the wood a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the space that Brandon Jones covers, I think now you can see the contrast from a pretty good athlete to a superb athlete in the back end, which I think changes the complexity of the defense. So I think that loss was much more significant, which is why they put him on IR pretty quick. So you get you get the 3 games, and you're going to have to win a divisional round game for him to come back. But that's a guy that, right now, if I were to pick who needs to come back, of those things. It might be even him over JK right now with how well I think RJ Harvey has played better. Don't get me wrong. I want both of them back for sure. But it's like, if we have an elite.
But if we talk like priority.
Brandon Jones makes our defense elite. 100%. He makes our defense elite. You can win a Super Bowl with an elite defense. Do we have an elite rushing game with J.K. Dobbins? Nope. I don't think it's elite. I don't think it's Derrick Henry. You give the ball 30 times and we feel pretty damn good that they can't stop us. I don't think we have that kind of offense. So that's the way I tilt it a little bit. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited
for sure,
because this is really the most significant kind of playoff opportunity that the Broncos have had since 2015. So last year we played with house money. I think, I wasn't even mad when they lost to Buffalo, which makes me feel like a Buffalo Bill fan. Right? When it's like, just love my team. They did really good. They played hard. They got to playoffs. Like, that was a good season, which it was. Now, I will be disappointed without a Super Bowl trophy. For as much as I'm worried about them in each matchup-ish, I also feel confident in every matchup. And I think with where this team has positioned itself and how it's decided to play football, they have as good a chance as any to win a Super Bowl. So with that too, I think one component maybe, and just kind of throwing this out there for us, is how much of the game plan probably over the last month has been win with the least amount of bullets as possible, right? You haven't really seen a ton of creativity in the play calling.
Yeah.
Kind of exotic blitz packages that we had saw against Philly, et cetera, have not really been there. You kind of saw a lot with Green Bay more to the second half, but even starting in that game, it was pretty vanilla. And what we're going to do is okay, crap, we're down by 2 scores. We better come with it. And so I believe that this team, because of their confidence starting at the head coach, felt like, we're good enough to win all of these games with our B effort. And so we want to be able to make sure that we have some, and I think even probably preparing it for this game, assuming that the Chargers game was going to matter or that you were going to get Justin Herbert. I think that a lot was being saved for this week and then the subsequent playoff weeks. I hope that I'm right. I believe that that's the case. I believe that this was a team that has held back a bit, and maybe that's why we've saw decline in big plays and really impactful defensive snaps. Effort. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think I'm off? Do you see where I'm coming from a little bit? Do you think no, Nick, they're just not playing?
No. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit this season. Just like, we've been calling it conspiracy corner a little bit. Like, how much is Sean Payton kind of keeping in the holster versus what he's actually breaking out? Like, is there a scenario that I could see where he's holding back when we're playing Chris Oladokun and the Kansas City Chiefs? Like, sure. He ended a little bit. I think it's a little unsettling for Broncos fans. You don't have any control over how that team's playing, as opposed to being in the coaching seat and feeling like you're putting together a good enough plan to win. But I think we've talked about that, and I hope that that's the case. I mean, I guess we'll find out soon whether our conspiracy is real or not. I think that there's certainly he's had opportunities, especially against some of the played teams a lot of teams that haven't had their starting quarterbacks or that lost their starting quarterback during the game. We've played Houston without CJ Stroud. We played the Bengals without Joe Burrow. Can you play kind of more vanilla against some of those teams? Yeah, I think you can. So, it remains to be seen. We'll find enough, but I think that it's possible for sure. And I think we kind of have to hope that that's the case, to be honest. Like, I don't know that what we've seen recently is enough to make you feel like you can win a Super Bowl with how the offense is played. Now, the fact that we've seen flashes and we've seen, the offense opened up when we have to come back against the Giants, against, teams that we feel like we need to really kind of solidify that offensive game plan against. Like, they've been able to do it, but I think that we better hope that there's some hidden book or, you know, some things that they've been running in practice that they just haven't unleashed.
Yeah, right. Like you said, we hope that that's the case. Because if it's just this, it doesn't feel really good. And I said the same stuff in 2015. This team did not win pretty. Their offense was really kind of, you know, and then you're going to get Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, and Pete Cam Newton. Like those are your 3 playoff matchups, right?
Yeah.
And nope, I wouldn't have felt, I mean, being in there, if you were to just look at it static for that time. I mean, I don't think they were favored in any of those games, actually. And if so, only for the Steelers game, and it was probably a field goal.
Right.
Like they weren't, but things had to line up. You know, it was Antonio Brown was, I think Chandler Jones played, but he had his like acid incident or just like got all the things. And then this sport, right, it is, and so when you're playing things this close to the vest, all it takes is one bad play, right? One miscalculation by the coaching staff, and that's a wrap for your season. And so that part worries me. I would also rather have this than a team that has just blown teams out all year. You know, 2013 with the Broncos, I mean, historic, right? And then they got punched in the mouth in the Super Bowl and didn't respond. And mind you, half of their defense was injured in that game. All of those things being said, I would rather have a tough tested team that can figure out how to win against anybody, from the Eagles on the road to, you know, to Patrick Mahomes at their highest peak of we got to have this game. You know, the Broncos beat Kansas City when Kansas City was playing for their lives. Like, let's not pretend that like Kansas City mailed it in all year.
Sure.
And so I want to make sure that that's being said, and that's why I like this team's chances. And so now you come to this week, we're playing the Chargers without Justin Herbert. It's like just things lining up. We're just getting green lights after green lights.
I know.
I haven't heard anything else about any substantial starter missing. So I think it's really just not Herbert. So if they win this game, great, but they're not going all in, knowing that they have to play on the road throughout the playoffs anyway, if they're the Chargers. Right. So, and to be honest, in SoCal, like, is that really a home field advantage? You know what I mean? Like, not really. Anyone that you play is going to travel.
Right.
How do you like our chances on Sunday? And keys to the game for you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think our chances are good. You know, obviously when Justin Herbert doesn't play, you feel pretty good about, you know, your ability to win that game. I think it's an opportunity for them. I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest. I don't know if it's going to be more of the vanilla kind of grind it out. Let's get a 23-17 win. Let's get a 20-13 win, 20-15 win, whatever it ends up looking like. It'd be nice to be able to have guys sit in the third, fourth quarter. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen though with this team. They just haven't shown a propensity to do that yet.
Yeah.
Nope. But regardless, I think, you know, you got to take the game seriously. If you find that having the top seed is, you know, important, obviously they've got to feel like that's an important thing for them. Then you've got to go out and handle business. You know, I think that. Right. I haven't watched Trey Lance play football in a long time. I don't know if he's any good, but you know, he's been in the league for a long time now. He's been sitting for a while. They'll have an opportunity to come out and show something. You know, they're not a complete disaster on offense. You still got to stop Omarion Hampton. You've still got to stop their guys on the outside. Quentin Johnston can break away at times. You know, you've got to keep them in front of you. It's a team that I think that the Broncos should handle, but you know, we'll see what happens. I right now I feel good about the matchup, but we'll see once the coin's tossed what they end up looking like.
Yeah, I think the Broncos come away with a win. I'm not going to say whether it's comfortable or not because we don't live in that reality. Do you think Trey Lance is not a good football player? At least as currently, he hasn't shown the capacity to. However, he can run. I think if there were a game that might give us fits or at least his style of play, he is a rushing threat and a big body rushing threat. He's 6'3" and 230 or something. So that part worries me, especially with an offensive line that is not very good. Hence why Justin Herbert is sitting. And so I have some trepidations that I think that will minimize the advantage that Denver's defensive front has.
Yeah.
No Dre Greenlaw this week. And so you're hoping that the steady play that has been, Alex Singleton, I think, has really stepped back into the player that he was. Justin Strnad has maintained, and I think the corners have played really good football. And so you haven't had that drop off happen on the back end. I thought Jahdae Barron's played really well in his opportunities, bogus pass interference calls and all. And the team has also had 10 days off since they played last. So they kind of had a mini bye, which, an opportunity to get a little fresh, maybe to put in some wrinkles if you need to. I think from a defensive point of view, it's a good matchup. I think on offense, it's weird because the Chargers have like a good overall defense, but outside of Khalil Mack and Derwin James, all right. I think for all of us to remember, I mean, the Broncos left like 21 points on the board. If Bo Nix can hit a hole shot, whether it's Mims or Sutton, I think that they are more in sync now to be able to do that. I think Forsyth has played well since he's been in. You got Ben Powers and Paucho kind of still mixing and matching. Hopefully maybe that gets figured out or it keeps working, I guess. And I think Harvey and his big playability is something that the Broncos haven't had from that position in a while. And so I really like where they're at with that. I would assume you're going to see a heavy dose of Harvey and Cortland Sutton, I think early and often to really try to get ahead. I think this has been a team that has really struggled out of the gate or kind of played the competition, had to pull away at the end or come back, etc. I think if they can get like a 10-point lead early, I think it's, the Chargers. And if it were me, you start mentally kind of checking out a little bit and self-preservation for next week. Oh, this game doesn't matter that much. Guys are trying to rest themselves, maybe mid-plays, that kind of stuff. But I expect the Broncos to win. I expect us to have our first home playoff game since January 16. And, in all the similarities, I think 10-year difference, playing for the 1 seed against the Chargers at the end of the season, all those things are just super cool. Whether or not it lines up for destiny's sake, who cares? It's such a fun ride right now. Like we said earlier, hopefully we're enjoying it. This team was 5-12 like 3 seasons ago. We were a laughingstock of the NFL world.
For sure.
Russ, all of the Russness and Nathaniel Hackett, and now we are at a place to really have a team that can have some lasting power. I'm going to the game on Sunday, me and my little man. So taking my 8-year-old, that was his big Christmas present. Yep. So I'll be there.
I won't.
As for the playoffs,
I'll be watching.
Not sure yet. We'll see. Yeah. Which is probably good. Maybe we brought Brad Juju last time or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't me because I've been to more than one game. It was probably.
Yeah, I guess it was me, Yeah. Maybe it's the combination. It could be the combination.
That's probably true. It's that. It's also not tackling. It's terrible calls. So I think there was a whole big conundrum of stuff, but that's right, I did. But with that, any lasting thoughts that we drop before I make you give us your – actually, no, we'll do this first. All right, Denver sports fan. As a Denver sports fan, what would you want your team's resolution to be for next year? You can pick any team. Be the Denver sports teams in general. You could pick a team. Hey, you know what? this team is going to fix this. We want this for them. Mine is the injury bug for the Nuggets. You know, after we get right, we're going to stay right on our way to the champ. You know, that's my hopeful resolution is just good health and focus for, you know, all Denver sports teams. But I think narrowing it down to the team that has experienced it to the highest degree of any of the team is Denver Nuggets. So 2026, we're focused on good health there.
No, I like that. I'll take the Broncos and just, you know, kind of a return to what your identity was in the first half of the season, especially on defense. Like, you know, remember what kind of unit this is. Remember what kind of the kind of pressure that you wreaked havoc on other quarterbacks and other offensive linemen. You know, remember that bonus the dog, then you guys can still run vertical down the field. You know, just kind of a return to what you do best. You know, we've been talking about Sean Payton. Maybe there's a little gamesmanship there. Ready for that to go away if that's the case. You know, I'm ready for them to kind of turn the page and be ready as anyone going into this playoff hunt. And also just like to fans, like you said, enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Broncos will have cap space next year. The team will be 1 year better. You know, your young guys will be one year better. Even if you don't win a Super Bowl this season, there are areas to get improved. You know, we don't have a great running game at the moment. We don't have a consistent vertical threat on the outside of this offense. We don't have a killer tight end that we can kind of go to in short yardage situations to pick up first downs. You know, there are plenty of opportunities for them to continue to get better. So I kind of double dipped on that one, but I think it's just kind of a return to what you do best and kind of a build on that for the future.
I like it. Can I interest you in a Deron Bland? I mean, you probably need all the corners you can keep right now just for the last week, but we'll go from there.
I think we got enough corners. We're okay.
Just, you know, everyone be grateful you're not a part of the Diggs family. They're having a rough one. And so with that, we appreciate you all. I know I appreciate you all. Thanks for you all being part of the best parts of 2025, part of keeping you going into 2026. And with that, why don't you sign us out?
Yeah, I appreciate y'all. Like the doc said, thank you for always being here. Chris, thanks for always being here, man. We appreciate you. You're one of the diehards. We love that, and we appreciate you. Everyone, Happy New Year. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe tonight for sure. Make sure you get an Uber if you need to, or hoof it. Don't get behind a wheel for sure. You know, if you're enjoying the bubble or partaking of anything else. But we appreciate you. Go Buckeyes. They're going to win tonight pretty handily, I'm pretty sure. I forgot what I said after that. But if you need a sports prescription, ask a doctor.
Okay.
From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. Mile High Sports Symposium, let the good times flow.